What is up, guys? This is Derek, aka SkyScope, finally here to talk to you guys about the new game that I've been playing recently called Kurtzpel. So, if I had to put a genre on Kurtzpel, I guess it would be like 3D battle arena MMO thing. So, this is the newest game from COG Games, which, if you know the history of this channel, you know that I kind of borderline hate COG games, and I could go into this for like hours, but it's easily just the mix of what they did to ruin L-Sword with the greed and the fact that they shut down Hero Wars without player compensation. As far as I know, there was no player compensation for when they shut down Hero Wars, and they shut down Hero Wars saying that it just wasn't what they wanted to be, and they just never brought it back. They said that they were going to bring it back, and they just never did. So I'm a super skeptic about COG games. If you know this channel, if you know me, then you know that. But just this game, it feels good, and it feels like COG games like golden egg, and they just need to not fuck it up, because COG can easily fuck stuff up a lot, and I just don't want to see them mess this one up, because this one's actually fun and it's fair and balanced, and I like how it plays, and it's super bare bones and simple at this time. They're calling the state that the game is in currently global early access, because the game just released in Europe and in Asia. So, you know, they're calling it early access, but honestly, you can spend money on the game and the data is not going to get wiped or anything. So it's pretty much just out fully. I hate when games call themselves early access for like years and just get by with that. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the game's features, and starting with the character creation. I'm just going to go ahead and say Kurtzpel likes to do a lot of cute shit with important mechanics in the game, and the character creation is one of them. They try to feed you this survey to pick your brain on your first character creation, and pretty much all of your character creations, excuse me. And all the survey does is determine the archetype of character that you can get. So there are 4 archetypes of character. There are multiple personalities of character that you can choose from, but there are really only 4 main archetypes. And the archetype of character that you get from the survey, it pretty much determines your character's voice quotes, your character's standing pose, and your character's cosmetic options. So cosmetic options, the full array of them, are kind of locked by the rebirth system, which used to be a way to, while also remaking your character, was a way to reallocate base skill points, but now that is kind of a free service that COG's done, which is a good job by COG, so yay, good for them for doing something good for once with this game. Okay, I'm not gonna get started on them, but yeah, so the first time that you create your character, you're kind of locked to what is under that archetype. I don't know if there's a guide for it yet, but there kind of needs to be. But once you rebirth for the first time, or any time after that, I keep saying for the first time for some reason, but after you do rebirth, you'll be able to get the full array of all of the character cosmetic options. And this game really does have some good character creation. There's body sliders, so you know, you can have fun with that. And you know, there's just a lot of stuff to let you make your, you know, pretty much your own anime character, because essentially that's what this is. This is a cel shaded game. It looks nice. I actually like the game's art style, and yeah, character creation's pretty good. Just kind of wish that the rebirth system didn't kind of block up all of the cosmetics, but whatever. So there are currently 4 playable weapons in Kurtzpel. These weapons are Gauntlet, Sword, Bow, and Staff. These weapons can also be broken down into subcategories called Breaker Weapons and Slayer Weapons. So the Breaker Weapons are the Sword and the Gauntlet, and Breaker Weapons' job is pretty much to have more defensive capabilities, you know, more health, more defense, and what they do is they deal a lot of damage to the break gauge. So what the break gauge does is, once the break gauge is gone, it allows you to combo the enemy, because they're now susceptible to more damage, and they're able to be juggled. You know, you can combo them in the air, you can do whatever, just so long as you follow up with proper combos and proper combo extensions. Which is another reason why I really like this game, is it kind of feels like a loose fighting game at times, because you know, you just have to figure out certain things with the game to where there are certain states that the enemies can be put in to where it's like, okay, I can extend this combo in this way, or I can do a weapon switch combo or something like that, and it just makes it really, really fun. And the other subcategory of weapon are called Slayer classes. So these Slayer classes just deal pretty much raw damage, and they're also the range classes. So right now you can think of melee just as the breaker classes and the range classes as Slayer classes, although the next class that's playable is going to be called Dual Soul, I believe, and I think that it's a dual sword Slayer class, so that'll change when that comes around. But for right now, you can just think of melees as breakers and Slayers as ranged. So to just kind of get into the weapons themselves at least a little bit, I guess we'll start with Gauntlet, which is my favorite. I love Gauntlet because it has, I think, some of the best combo extensions in the game. You can grab people, you can choke slam people, make them feel really, really helpless. So yeah, that's why I love Gauntlet. Sword has really good attack range from a melee standpoint, and it has really good super armor. It has a really good leap. So I mean, what else do you want from a great sword class? And apparently, from what I hear, from what John told me, also John deserves a lot of credit on this video, as we did record an entire Kurtzpel video that was like an hour long. It was like a podcast type video about Kurtzpel, and he gave me a lot of information that I'm using in this video, so shout out to John. But yeah, he told me that the sword can break faster just off of general hits than Gauntlet can, but Gauntlet has faster move animations, so they kind of cancel each other out there. I don't know which one can break faster in general, but yeah, there are no overpowered weapons in Kurtzpel. They're all strong in their own right, and they will all blow you up in their own way. So yeah, on to the Slayer weapons. The Slayer weapons are the bow and the staff. Now the Slayer weapons pretty much just focus on raw damage output, and they're the range classes. So starting with the bow, I honestly don't have that much to say about the bow other than the bow is a bow. It's a very COD gamesy bow, so there's a you know, spread arrow, there's a volley, there's a back shot, there's a snipe. So you know, it works well. It's a bow. It does damage. You can kill people at a distance. It has a really high crit rate, so there's that. And I mean, I pretty much just use it in PvP to kill people that are running away from me or people that are just too far. I use it, you know, just to secure kills and whatnot. But you know, I just kind of wish that it was a little more rewarding, you know, just a little harder to use versus the reward I get from it, because it does a lot of damage. Like, it's not overpowered or anything in my opinion, but it does a lot of damage. And so yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's just kind of a bow. It's not too interesting at all. The interesting one to me is the staff, and the staff I think is the most interesting weapon in Kurtzpel, but it's done kind of dirty because the staff is the only magic damage weapon currently in Kurtzpel. So the gauntlet, the sword, and the bow all run off of physical damage, while the staff is the only one that runs off of magic damage. Reason why this is bad is because in Kurtzpel you can run two weapons on your character at the same time and switch freely in between them. You can switch in between combos and stuff. So the fact that if you take one of your weapons as a really strong magic weapon, but you then have to take another physical weapon that's just gimped because you don't really have any stats that benefit physical weapons, it kind of sucks. And while people that build their characters for magic damage blow people up as mages with the staff, like, trust me, the staff as maxed magic stats, probably has the highest damage output in PvP at least, and definitely PvE. So probably the highest damaging class when maxed towards itself, but you're pretty much only signing up to use the staff at that point, which sucks. If there was another, magic damage breaker class out there to, stand with the staff, which is the magic slayer class, then that would be good. But as far as it stands right now, it's going to be the only magic damage weapon for a while, considering the fact that, like I said, the dual soul is supposed to be physical damage as well as the slayer class. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I think that the game does need a new magic damage weapon quickly, and preferably a breaker class, but yeah, to me it just makes a little bit of a problem with, kind of the mage's full kit. So I kind of want to play a mage. I think that the staff is really unique and that it's, like I said, the most unique weapon in the game. But I'm just discouraged to play it because I'm kind of making the other weapon that I hold in my slot super weak. So yeah. Now the gameplay flow of Kurtzpel is kind of dictated by the cute shit that I mentioned earlier. So kind of the gameplay flow of this being a hub world mission based game is you're going to go to the main NPC Ejner, you're going to track an NPC location, and if you do the mission that the NPC is tracked on, you'll have a chance to encounter that NPC and have a dialogue with them. Now NPCs can also show up if you don't track at all, and they can show up at the end of PvP missions whether if you win or lose. But these NPCs need to have dialogue that your goal is to reveal certain things that you didn't know about them or the universe in order to get further favor with them to get the rewards that they give. Pretty much the raw progress of this game is just to get affinity with the NPCs just so that you can get their equipment and their gear and whatnot. The class essential NPCs will give you skills and special moves which are critical to your character, as you can see from my character sheet here. So just kind of break everything down. You're allowed to have 2 karmas, aka the weapons in this game. Each karma can have up to 3 skills on it, and each skill can have a corresponding sub-skill slot, which is kind of just like runes and masteries for League of Legends. There can be cooldown reduction and etc. There's also a passive for each karma or each weapon that is interchangeable with different passives, and there's another super move or an ult, I guess that you could call it, for each weapon, and there are 2 for that as well. One's pretty much just a one-hit ability, and then the other is just kind of an enhancement ability. Then as you can see from here, of course, the character customization and the gear that I have. So I know with this being a COD game, there's the big question of, is this game pay to win? And for once I can proudly say, no, this game is not pay to win. Thankfully Kurtzpel handles everything really well. There are loot boxes for cosmetics and weapons that you can buy for like $3 on Steam, or you can earn them in game. But none of the cosmetics or weapons that you can get from these boxes provide you an unfair advantage, because all the equipment in Kurtzpel have the same base and max values. So say that you have the official gear that they give you for free in game just for playing the game. That gear is the same stat lines as the gear that you will get from the boxes. So there's really no difference in the stats of the gear that you can get. You can change the substats and whatnot and dye your clothes to make your anime Barbie doll look prettier over here at the tome. And over here at the tome you can, change things. Like I said, you can change your equipment substats. You can, upgrade your equipment, dye it, and this is also where you will perform your base stat changes, which was previously, held by the Rebirth system, but COG also did a good job with making it free, and not only just making it free, making it easily attainable. It doesn't cost that much CP to reallocate your character's base stats, which is really nice of them. They did a really good job with that. So the game is really fair and balanced, and it's kind of crazy to be talking about a COD game in terms of not being pay to win. And yeah, there's also a really nice training room that you can practice your, weapons, combos, and all of your cool combo extensions on. I think it's really nice that they just put something in there that's good for proper combo training, because they are important to the game. So now moving on to PvE and more just gameplay stuff, and we're probably just going to start rambling here, but kind of going on with PvP. So right now how they've done it is you can queue for 2v2 official matches. That's mostly how Kurtzpel's played. It's played in teams of 2, or you could play in unranked matches right now, which they added the new option to play as 3v3 in an unranked mode. I have yet to actually play in that because I feel like the queue for it is just so long and everyone's just playing for official. But yeah, PvP, like I said, pretty much about the other stuff in the game. It's fair, it feels good, it plays well, feels balanced. Sometimes people can be a little bit laggy and that can mess up your combos, but I mean, it's to be expected in an online environment. When you kind of feel Kurtzpel and realize the fact that it is mostly a PvP centric game, you kind of see how Kurtzpel, and John said this too, COG with Kurtzpel, they might be aiming towards more of an esports route, because I mean, it will kind of get their name back in good graces, and hell, pretty much every game developer is trying to get something within the esports realm that's good. So there's that. But yeah, so the game modes that are in PvP, there are Conquest, which I don't even know if that game mode exists anymore. It's basically a domination style game mode where you go in and you hold a point. Just to kind of touch on it, it's a very flawed game mode, and I haven't seen it since the global release update. They may have taken it out of the game. I just have not seen or played Conquest in the queues yet. So the thing about the queues also is you can't change the game mode, but I'll get into that later. So yeah, Conquest to me was just a horrible game mode because it was 100% based off of, if you were in the ring of the circle or not. And the more that you were in the ring of the circle or your teammate was, the gauge would, go and tilt over to your team's side. But you didn't accumulate points for it. So say that you and your teammate were just destroying all game and were able to keep the enemy team out of the circle all game, and then they come back and kill you and your teammate just once and take over the circle. Guess what? Once that buzzer hits 0 and that meter is now on the other team's gauge, you will lose. So you can actually play the game perfectly, just mess up once and then lose at the end of the game. So it's a very flawed game mode, and I don't like it. I never really played it to begin with. And then there's Capture the Flag, which you're seeing right here on the screen. Capture the Flag is actually a pretty fun game mode. I think some people are kind of afraid of it because there are some quitters in Capture the Flag. Just if one team gets too far ahead, people just think that there's no way to come back. But there are overtime instances, and trust me, I've played a lot of Capture the Flags to know by this point that yeah, you can definitely come back and have a pretty epic moment with this game. The third and final game mode is, of course, just straight up team deathmatch, which is my favorite game mode and also the hardest sought after, because in Kurtzpel you can't really choose the game mode that you're playing for. You just choose either to go into the official queue or the unranked queue, and then it'll just randomly assign you a game. I think this is why I haven't ran into Conquest in a while, just because they decided Conquest is a flawed game mode. I run into Capture the Flag a lot because I just don't know why, but since I can't choose deathmatch, I feel like discouraged whenever I get into these Capture the Flags, and then I have to keep playing Capture the Flag and Capture the Flag. It's like I like the game mode, but it's the fact that it's just I have to play like 3 or 4 Capture the Flags just so I can play one deathmatch when the queue pops up for it. So you know, that's kind of aggravating because I just want to practice my combos, you know, on people instead of objective combos. I want to practice my kill combos. So, you know, there's that, but it's kind of whatever. Hopefully once more people start playing the game and more people start joining into the queues, they'll allow people the choice to choose their game mode. But for right now, I think that they decided that, you know, if they start splitting up the queues too much, then, you know, people aren't going to be finding matches quick enough. Anyways, some of the last things that I wanted to talk about in this video was the interesting little fact that, well, I find it interesting, was that this game was actually kind of early access play tested in the West, even though it's kind of an Eastern made game. Usually you hear like Eastern MMOs, you know, coming out and releasing in the East and then coming to the West, but this one's kind of different, and I feel like it's solely because to save a lot of resources and money spent by COG, I think that they use a lot of Steam's resources to be the backbone of this game. So for instance, like, Kurtzpel doesn't have its own official friends list, which I think it should have. It's supposed to piggy off of Steam's friend list, but it doesn't do it the way it's supposed to. And it's just kind of strange because it also uses the Steam Marketplace, which is nice. So if you get items from loot boxes you don't want, you can actually sell it for, you know, multiple times the price on the Steam market, and you can buy things for cheap from the Steam market too. So that's cool that the players have, you know, a big hand in the economy for the game. But yeah, it's just kind of weird that this game piggybacks a lot off of, you know, Steam stuff. I kind of wish that it was more fleshed out in terms of, you know, menus and stuff like that. And kind of the other thing that I wanted to touch on was, of course, things that I want to see in the game, because while I do shit talk COG a lot, I do want to see them get better as a company, and I do want to give them good ideas. So things that this game does need is, yes, its own working friends list and its own kind of community list. Another thing that it definitely needs are guilds, proper guilds, emotes. I think emotes are on the way already. But yeah, this game needs emotes because people need more to do in the lobby than to just stand around with their anime Barbie doll looking pretty. We want to make the anime Barbie dolls dance too and do emotes. So yeah, I also kind of want to see just interesting stuff done. I want to see guild rooms once guilds are made. I think that would be really cool, kind of almost, you know, Phantasy Star Online 2-esque. Yeah, and I just want to see that done because I think that they could actually turn a nice profit off of it if they, you know, made guild rooms. You could customize the guild rooms, and to get guild furniture, you would have to get, you know, guild, you know, furniture loot boxes. I think that that would benefit them a lot because I know that for guilds, people go all out, and if you could, you know, even possibly do your own logo like how MapleStory 2 does, that'd be nice. But, you know, I'm rambling on here, so. And overall, I'm really excited about this game. I want to see where this game goes. I want to see the future for it. So I kind of just want to be here playing it. You know, I'm having a really good time. I actually think that it's fun, balanced. It looks nice. In terms of an early access game, while this doesn't have much to offer, I think that there really are only like 12 PvE missions, and there are maybe, 5 PvP maps right now. I think that the game has a really large space for growth, and if it does it under the wings of Steam and, you know, the thought process of good marketing strategies and fair gameplay, then everything will work out for Kurtzpel. But yeah, this has been Derek aka SkyScope. Peace out, guys. Have a great day.